So good morning, everyone. Audible? Okay, I think such an honor to be here, and it's nice to see Stack Crowd being honoring it. Now, one of the other things before this session and all, I was telling to everyone that there are a lot of ideas that you give to a lot of people, but there are only very few people who actually take into the consideration and respect even after 3 years. So I think Stack Crowd, Vishnu Priya, Yogesh, Raji, Vijay, all of these people are coming out from that sort of notions with all humility, and I always feel that this is our conference. And when I suggested, it was a need of an hour to get it, but converting an idea into an action is all who are sitting on the front seat, so all credit goes to them rather than me. Okay, so I think huge applause to all RID people. Okay, so what I'm going to say, I think it's very hard to speak after Pramod and even after you taking breakfast or all of those tea, but I'll try to give an attempt, whatever the limited knowledge I have. I want to share it out to you all to share, what we think. So I want to spend some time in terms of the journey. We talk about, okay, where we are, what we are trying to do, and where we want to go ahead. So that's where I thought of, taking this stuff as frontier AI or future AI. Let's go out to the next slide. Yeah, okay. So I think this is something, we want to spend some time in terms of taking a journey about how the journey of AI got started. Well, the journey of AI got started from 1950s. You talk about, you heard about Priya talking about turning, Mr. Turning about it, Mr. Turing Point and all of those converting it. But essentially, if you really talk about AI, the AI got started out with the role-based stuff, right? So that was all stuff when we are talking about, can we have a semantic model where if then else all goes converted into the system and all of those things. And then gradually, in the late 2010s kind of a thing, we started getting some sort of models which we called as a deep learning models and all of those. We just started converting it into some sort of an actions. We started going and getting some sort of recognitions in the area of image recognitions, in the stuff of, text to speech and all of those areas as well as the visions. And then we started saying that, yeah, this is really great, but all of those comes with the demands. And as such, when you started working, what is more essential for all of you to understand that all of these notions comes with the demands which the customer arises after every period of time. So for example, what do you see cloud now? If you are going back to AWS or Azure or anyone else and you think that, have they thought about this cloud model 10 years back? The answer is no, right? So I think it depends upon what the customer is demanding over a period of time. So when the deep learning came out, there was a lot of things that was unlocked. I think everybody started using out DL, creating all those sort of deep learning models, and we all used to be proud about what we were creating. And then came NLP. And we said, wow, this is something really amazing. Means we can convert our text, and English should be our new language where we need to convert. And anything beyond it can be abstracted. And for an architects who are a modern architects, NLP is actually going to be a game changer. We thought that we started using the virtual language assistants, we started having chatbots, all those chatbots era started coming into the scene. But then we thought that this is enough. But then we started going into the GenAI area, which is something which got unlocked with ChatGPT coming out in 2022 November. I started interacting with OpenAI way back in 2019, and I've been interacting with them, understanding that I have written quite a number of blogs about OpenAI on my LinkedIn. If you want to see, of course, feel free to do so, about what their thought process, what their vision is, what they want to achieve. But of course, all the things that OpenAI is doing is all about reinforcement learning, right? And you will see, in fact, I had mentioned a couple of, assets over there on OpenAI there in my blog, which is yet to be unlocked by OpenAI even now, right? And then we started saying that, yeah, this is good. ChatGPT is like amazing. You ask something and it's going to rain. And in fact, ChatGPT is something for most of the people, it is going to be a very productive, right? What you are doing in 24 hours, you can do it out in 24 minutes or even less than that. And people say, wow, I upload something, it's just that. And what is more important even nowadays is speed to market. So speed to market is really going to the key. It's not about getting things done by 10 people or 5 people or 1 people. What is the, can I get this information right now, right at right time? And that is where the whole area of GenAI came into the scene. And we started unlocking you, the other companies started, companies about it, right? And you have seen the words of Google's and Microsoft and even, the Anthropic and all other people started, coming. Lot of startups started coming about agentic, on GenAI. And then we say, yeah, is this enough? And then it started coming the stuff of agentic AI. The agentic AI is all about, autonomous, agents or an AI assistant that can do a task for yourself. So with ChatGPT, you can ask for an itinerary if you are traveling something. But agentic AI can actually book your tickets on your behalf and get the things do for you. So what is agentic AI trying to unfold? The agentic AI is basically an assistant which can actually takes out all the repetitive tasks that you do in your jobs. And I'm showing out all of you. I'm not talking about a single one. It's not about a desk, even any one of you, right? Any one of you who is trying to do a job of repeating tasks, that task can be done by agentic AI. And that's the power of agentic AI assistant. And right now we are into that cusp of working on agentic AI. But then, what do you want to do next? And that's where the case is what we want to do with the machines, right? So that, you can do the task, but can the machines do the task for yourselves? Can we have some sort of an autonomous robots can be done? And that's where the stuff of physical AI comes out. And this session is more about, talking about to you, where the future is lying, where the real market is, where the real money dollar value is, where the companies are really investing it. So if you see, in terms of always when you see the adoption that Google is acquiring X and Y and Z companies or even other companies, if you started thinking about it, that why it is happening, it is all about physical AI because they think that the intersections of hardware along with intelligence is going to be the cusp where we want to move it forward. So I'm going to give a brief about, what about physical AI, but I want to talk a little bit on the backside that what that comes out. So every year, I write trends on LinkedIn, which I feel that it just makes a lot of sense for the stuff. And for that particular year. And and the reason I do it out is to make sure that we validate and it just makes sense that it helps out. So I done it out on for last year as well, and then at the end of the year I summarize where we are. Most of the time, at least I am able to be 80% correct all the time. This was a trend that I posted it on LinkedIn in Jan 25 on LinkedIn, right? And one of the first things that we talked about is agentic AI, right? 6 months, I think things are working fine. The first is, who is going to rule the show in agentic AI? If I talk about right now, every company is actually driving agentic AI, isn't it? If I ask any company who is not, it probably will be a surprising stuff. If they are not doing, they probably will be lagging behind. So who is going to be the winner? The winner will be the company who is going to drive it out with the right workflows for the right business users to take it up into the actions. So the workflow, and I said that the word of workflow is what is going to be the changing the system as we proceed forward. The second I talked about multimodal integrations, where we say that you have agents talking about with voice to text, you have agents we are talking about speech, image, can we start having a multimodal interactions among each other? And that's probably what I thought about the enhancing multimodal. The third is on-device AI and federated intelligence. And I strongly feel that this is where the real picture lies, where we feel that, the physical AI is going to come and see the real realm of what the stuff comes out into the picture over a period of time. And we will see, lot of companies working on it. Of course, they will see a lot of structures coming into the scenes. Small language models making a lot of penetrations. The real value lies into the edge-based devices, and you can imagine that there are billions and billions of edge-based devices coming into the scene. And the other thing is that there are so many robots, autonomous agents, which is coming out, which is where this on-device AI and federated intelligence will really work out. The fourth is all about rise of specialized open source model. So a lot of times we talked about an open source and even promote calls, everything what they have designed on UIDI and UPI is all about open source. What's the difference? Can you really understand that where the open source is and where the actual stuff is? I started doing some sort of correlations about where the open source is lagging and where these vendor based models are ahead. And I know the difference is just 6 months. Just 6 months. So if you look what companies have created 6 month back, it's actually an open source model by one of other companies. And that's where the real realm is. As an architect, we need to embrace this and try to board. Because if somebody is coming out in open source, they want to make sure that some of us take that step and convert it out into a realized dream. Because platform is a platform unless it comes into an applications. An application is an application unless it has been used by billions and millions of people. And for us as an architect, what is going to be really successful is how can we convert those platforms into the applications that can be used by millions of people. That's where the true satisfaction of an architect lies. And the fourth is all about hybrid cloud and sustainable AI infrastructure, because that's where the green software foundations and all about carbon emission and all of those things which has been going on. And that's where we will talk about. So I'll go fast. So I covered about Agentic AI. I'm not going to cover about this, but Agentic AI is all about the world of workflows. In lieu of time, I'm just going to pass it. But workflow is going to be the key differentiator. If somebody asks you what is going to be differentiating between Agentic AI and anything else, and how Agentic AI is going to be different, I think it is all about workflow. And while you can go with any of the disparate systems, AWS came out recently with Kiro. There are already Crew.ai. There was LangChain Orchestrator. There was quite a number of stuff that we work out. But the thing that is going to be differentiator is how you are utilizing that platform to convert it. And for that, you need to write a workflow. And for that is where it is going to be a differentiator. And as such, we go move forward. Now, we talked about how the enterprise AI is changing the enterprise AI automations. It is, as I mentioned, any of the repetitive work that any of you guys are doing can be automated with Agentic AI. Are we there yet? The answer is no. Are we thinking about it? The answer is yes. But to be very honest, right, a lot of companies and CEOs, you will say that they are talking and talking about it. You will see the work of Gartner, HEG and all of those. They are talking to CXOs. They are saying that they are very important. It's not an era of doing a POCs. It's an era of driving a value. The era of POCs has already gone in 2022, 2023, where we have spent a lot of time, and even in 2024, we have spent a lot of time on creating a POCs. Even if you talk about any of the AI agents and even vendor VCs, they are actually trying to spend the money where the real value lies. The real value lies is how can you automate the system. And I want you guys to think about, hey, in your daily life, what are the things that you do out on a repetitive basis, even every day? Can you have an agent who can respond your emails back in front of you if you're not there? Of course, yes. Right? Can you have your agents who can actually write a code on behalf of you? Of course, yes. Can you have an agent who can actually, do quite a number of other activities of e-commerce that you are doing which requires your human approval? Yes. But human in the loop is very important, because what is very important while we talk about the Agentic AI is we don't want to lose the cusp of where the stuff has been handing out. And there are multiple use cases in logistics, agriculture, smart factory. I think you can again use the era of ChatGPT to figure out some of those areas. What is more important is physical AI. And physical AI is where the Agentic AI gets a form. The physical AI is all about where you are talking with actual systems who are converting that Agentic AI into the systems. So can I have a robot which has multiple AI agents or Agentic AI inverts who can do the task for us? Maybe like, have you heard about Waymo, right? It is actually an autonomous robot, right, which has a lot of agents inside it, which is already doing a lot of work. Those are the areas we need to think about. I heard about a hotel in Singapore where the foods are served by robots, right? And there are quite a number of it. Now, there is one confusion which comes out, right? How is it different from IoT or AIoT? What is physical AI I'm talking about? And that's where IoT is all about objects, sensors, actuations and all of those, though they are going to be the part of it. But here we are actually talking about end-to-end system who are going to do end-to-end job for you. And that's where the whole system and notion lies. And you will see that physical AI is going to be very, very important over a period of time. I was reading a report where McKinsey says that $4.4 trillion advantage is going to come on by 2030 if you are working on physical AI and automation. So when we are talking about automation, when we are talking about AI, intelligent operations, all of those things, of course, these things sits behind it. And as a leader, as an architect, you guys need to think about, where the physical AI comes out. So physical AI is all about, can an agent or can a robot or can a system help me on doing some sort of navigation, manipulation, and even in decision makings, right? Let's go it first. What are the key enablers, right? Now, most of the key enablers is something that I have added in my trends, as I mentioned. But these are the enablers that are something which is going to drive the stuffs. Of course, multimodal AI, embodied AI, reinforcement learning. And I talked about reinforcement learning. If you think that you have done supervised learning, machine learning, and unsupervised learning, and you are thinking that you have learned machine learning, the answer is wrong. The real value lies in reinforcement learning. If you are thinking about any of the machine learning model, what Meta, AWS, OpenAI, or any of the vendor that you are rely on, you love them. If you are thinking out, they are all using the reinforcement learning. That's where the real value is. So if you have not spent time on learning reinforcement learning, I think you are actually missing the 50% of what AI can do for you. Okay? And then digital twins, right? So digital twins are really again very smart things. How can you take and do some sort of pilots without working on an actual machines? Things about the use cases where we are going on deep down into the earth and solving some of the problems in the minds where you are where even forget about the internet, even the human is not reachable. How can you send some sort of robots or machines to make sure that that happens? I think digital twins are where the case lies. And edge AI and tiny MLs, right? As I mentioned, when we are talking about edge AI, it's all about, putting up IoT devices who can act for you. You will not get an internet over there, right? Or even in the windmills. Can you get an internet in the windmills to take it? You want those IoT devices to be self-healing approach. So can those IoT devices handle and try to do a self-healing approach is where the edge AI. But what is more important with all of those 4 or 5 areas which I've covered is all about human AI collaborations. And for that, it is very important that as an architect, when we are architecting the system, we need to have a human in the loop. I think there is something that always everybody has been saying. Because though this is always an advantageous for us, always you can say that there are systems which can always go behind us and track us, right? And you can also create those systems which can go opposite direction. It's all about the intention about what you use. So you always have a knife. You can always use a knife to cut an apple, but you can always use a knife to do something else as well, right? So the choice is the intentions. So if the intentions are good, of course you are going to use it. But if the intentions are bad, of course there are always the challenges. So what is more important is the human AI collaborations, which is very important as you take it forward. And then we talked about, I take this example of Jensen Huang, of course, he is one of the guys who actually tried to picturize about physical AI and keep on talking about it, how the stuff has been talking about it. So physical AI, when he talks about it, lot of companies started having that sort of attention. Oh, there is something called a physical AI. We are talking about now the AGI is going to come out. AGI is going to feature. But no, the future is all about physical AI, right? This is where the real money is. There are companies who are presumably spending time on AGI, but they are actually the real dollar value is coming on the physical AI. So what the physical AI is, right? And we talked about it. So physical AI is actually solving real world problems at scale. And which are real world problems, right? They work with the human machine collaborations. So you will see the physical AI, every time there is a human angle on it, it talks about what is the perception, they learn from it, they act, they think, they resolve, and they even can be able to develop another physical machine as they proceed it forward, right? It's also about continuous adaptation, they understand, and that's the power of reinforcement learning. Reinforcement learning, adapt what he sees, and then it gets rewarded based on human collaboration, and that's where I'm very fond of what the work of the physical AI do. Now, I talked about some of the use cases. These are the physical AI and use cases. So if you are talking that, hey, just, Tesla or, NVIDIA's word is actually doing, I think the answer is no. There are already the companies who are investing. Some of the companies you probably will not be aware about it. Autonomous vehicle, industry robotics. I've listed out quite a number of companies. It took time for me to create this, but I thought that I want to give you a sense about how these companies are really creating. So I think this is what I really want to cover in time, but only the last thing which I want to say is physical AI is not just about robots. It's about how can you reshape how the intelligence lives and acts in the real world. Thank you so much, Umar Sai.
Thank you so much, Nishith. And if I may ask you to stay on stage just for a while longer, we will be entertaining a couple of questions. As usual, first come, first serve. And there's a gentleman at the back. May I get a mic there, please?
Yeah, hi Nishith, this is Nitin. Thank you for a wonderful session. My question is we are talking about physical AIs. We're talking about a lot of infrastructure here. Is it possible to develop state-of-art large language models with limited infrastructure? And what strategies can help us overcome these constraints?
Yeah, so I think it depends upon the perceptions, right? When the OpenAI came in, and it's a pretty great question. When the OpenAI came in, we felt that, hey, we need all those big GPUs to do it, and the NVIDIA shares price was getting doubles and doubles. But have you heard about DeepSeek? It's a Chinese product, but have you heard about it? Yeah? But when the DeepSeek came in, what happens? DeepSeek actually changed the way this whole entire algorithm works, right? And that's where the power is lying out, right? So, and what is so unique about DeepSeek, I tell you this, right? They are just 200 odd people company, right? And 150 of them are mathematicians. And the reason is when you are talking about algorithms, it's all about, working on maths, working on physics, getting and optimizing the algorithm. So at any day you can get those sort of stuff over a period of time where the algorithm can change the way, and can disturb the whole nation, right? And I think what needs to be keep eye on our mind is open source. I give you an example that actual open source is just 6 months behind, right? So you can use those open source to start building the systems. Now, how big scale you want to build it? Of course, you have to have an initial investment, but certainly, I'm seeing the SLM models like Olama and others you can install in your system. Even the DeepSeek you can install in your system and start, creating some sort of business value. So my take is start utilizing the open source. I think it's just free, but of course you can do it up in your machines. But start with an SLM as you start forward. And once you start getting with the SLM models, you figure it out, it goes out. What you can do as a piece of advice is you can use an open source model and make it specialized to do something. No company is doing, to be very honest. Can I get a specialized model, SLM model for a healthcare? Can I get a specialized model for a finance? Can I get a specialized model for other industries as you talk, right? I expect that companies will start coming it out within the next 6 months. Of course, that's going to happen. I hope that solves. Yeah?
Thank you so much.